Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. It is time for the second entry into the new Epic series. I really appreciate the feedback that you guys gave me on the last video. It was quite heartening to listen to, and a lot of you guys really loved it. I will take into consideration a couple of things that people suggested. Going to make a few tweaks here or there, a little bit of adjustment to the audio, and all in all, do my best to improve. Thank you so much for keeping on tuning in. I was amazed at the outpouring of support in private messages and the comments everywhere on everything that's going on. So you guys are awesome, and hopefully I can give you just as awesome of a game. It's happening today on Canis 4v4, and I'm actually leaving this one playing at full speed while I do intro and everything else because this map takes a little bit of expansion and setup, so generally they're getting a whole lot of action in the first couple of minutes. We're going to go ahead and look at how this map is laid out, although I'm sure most of you know how it goes already. Canis is a very popular, possibly overplayed map. I do like it though because it has a good structure. You only have 4 mass extractors in the base. There is a ton of reclaim those, so you can pretty much tech however you want, whether it be through more factories, higher tier factories, or through mass extractor upgrades. And you are forced to expand because besides the 4 in your base, you pretty much have to expand to get any more, and all of those are outlying, which means you can get overrun with units, you can have run-bys, it's nice open passages and some good areas for fighting. So all in all, I do like Canis. Let's go ahead and introduce the teammates, and then we will get on with the game. On the northern side, we have the Bread Roll taking Cybrin, Blood taking Aeon. Excuse me, my voice is still cracking just a little bit. You'll have to forgive me for that. CTN on UEF, and either Yaki or Lackey as Seraphim. That is possibly a lowercase L, probably an uppercase I. I'm going to call him Lackey just because that's easier to pronounce. On the southern side, we've got Belated Cube taking UEF, Witu taking Cybrin, another Cybrin for Scunch, and last but certainly not least, a Wash Corn. That is a very unusual name, taking Aeon. I am not sure whether he is washing his own corn or the corn is awash with something else. Flavor? Plague worms? Extra stringiness in the husk? I don't know what he intends with that statement. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and bump up the speed a bit in the beginning of this because we're just going to see some expansion, and hopefully we will get on to the more interesting things later on in the game. Blood is going to push out an early air scout. That is absolutely vital. We've got an air scout circling on this side providing radar coverage, and then we have several land scouts out on this side providing a little bit of insight into what the other team is doing. You may ask why so many land scouts. That's because these are Sellens, so they also double as labs. So these guys are going to be able to snag any engineers that might haphazardly pursue them, or possibly even intercept a lab from the other team coming up. So far, it's basically just labs and a handful of tanks here and there, but not really any engagements. And that is an interesting thing right there. We have a paused commander that was moving. That is a pause on a build order, I do believe. Yes, it is. I was wondering. When you see the pause insignia, normally you do not see the ACU moving. But yeah, that does explain it. Got a Tech 1 bomber right over here in this corner, nicknamed Happy Man of Action. I do despise that naming mod because eventually you lose that person's base in a sea of green, and apparently we're just gonna have to deal with that this game. Got a potential run by over here. Looks like we do have an auto gun that came up just barely in time to snag these tanks as they passed. Those Medusa are gonna wipe out that last one. May lose the mass extractor, but all in all, not really any damage to speak of. The engineer that gave his life building that last wall section and point defense definitely saved this side from a run by, so kudos to you, my good sir. You deserve a medal. Got some Auroras over here that pinned down a couple of units. Looks like an engineer or 3 over there and killed them off. And it is time for the Medusa spam. I almost said Zooey spam. because what other faction does that much Tech 1 artillery spam? But no, it is the bread roll, whipping out the OP Medusa, and the Medusa is an anti-unit artillery. It is not an anti-base artillery. It has much lower damage, but in exchange it gets a inaccurate but huge area of effect shot, and it gets the stun effect. And that stun effect is what makes it extremely awesome against both Tech 1 and Tech 2 units. Tech 3, range starts becoming an issue, and I would be for mixing Medusa with your Tech 3 units just for the sake of getting that stun effect and having cannon fodder, but I would definitely not stream nothing but Medusas into a Tech 3 army. On the right hand side, we've got a bunch of Mantis along with some Auroras pushing over here. Not a whole lot of action going on for the most part. We've got some wall sections going down to slow any oncoming units, and the bane of the Aurora's existence, this Tech 1 point defense. As I'm sure you guys have heard me mention before, there are point defense known to have gotten almost 800 or not 800, almost 100 kills. My brain is doing dubious things to my tongue. Sometimes I believe they are enemies. One controls the other, and just for laugh, he forces it to do things which it does not want to do. Got a Tech 2 fire base coming up in the center. It's going to be 2 Tech defense, which is actually a smart idea on this map because eventually there will be a TAC launcher somewhere. It's just a matter of where and whether it is a backpack TAC or it is a stationary TAC. I'm going to throw down 2 point defense and a Tech 1 point defense just as a holder for this area. Now, there is still unit stream going on over here on the right, but since this fire base has gone down and orange doesn't really have a whole lot of mobile units, I am predicting what is eventually going to happen is both of these southern players are going to double team poor pink and wipe him out because his teammate has his mass sunk into stationary units and cannot come and help him. And there is the sea of green that I was talking about. Oh my goodness, my eyeballs just fried into their sockets. Tech 1 bombers coming in. They are I hate that mod. Tech 1 bombers coming in, doing an amazing job of laying down a carpet of fire upon the heads of those units and eliminating them very quickly. Got a deceiver there. This is an interesting choice of units with the mix that he had. Definitely don't want to be building 2 of those and sending them into their deaths because you should be building Mantis for the mass cost of those. And between the 2 commanders, even though they had the help of Tech 1 bombers on the northern side, those 2 commanders together are going to be able to easily deal with all of that spam that's coming down. And the Medusa tide is abated. Got Mongoose right here. That is a very, very nice choice. Some good kiting going on. Belated Cube using excellent game mechanics in his favor. The Mongoose, of course, are a bit faster and a lot longer range than most other Tech 2 units. They easily outrange Tech 1 artillery. So this group of Mongoose is basically going to wipe out an infinite amount of artillery as long as they kite away out of firing range. The disadvantage being they have that very low health, only 650, so when they do dip into range, man, they get hit hard and go down fast. Got Vipers moving in. These are going to start laying down some fire on this base over here, and that is going to eventually go down regardless of what blood does. The Vipers are the most efficient of the mobile missile launchers, and you cannot build enough TMD to protect yourself from them regardless of your faction. I know there is TMD going down here, but it is not going to be able to protect against that many Vipers. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Medusa's coming out trying to lay down some fire on these guys, not going to be able to take them out. And then another push of Tech 1 units. This time, though, it's Mantis. The Mongoose are going to have a little harder time dealing with those. They are going to be able to kite away. It is going to be successful, and I don't think any Mongoose died, but the Mantis are substantially faster and a whole lot sturdier than the Medusas are, so that is something that you got to kind of watch out for. You can see that beautiful area of effect fire taking place. Mongoose have that grenade launcher as their secondary weapon that does awesome things against tightly packed Tech 1 units, but is actually deceptively strong. What you're seeing here, a lot of people argue that the range bots are, woo, Lackey has been defeated. That was the double team that I was talking about. We've got the units from Scunch coupled with the units and ACU of Awash Corn, and he barely got out of there alive, but they were able to completely eliminate that player, and now the right-hand side is totally empty. The Northern team is going to have to do something about this pretty quickly, otherwise they're going to get overrun from the right. And here's the disadvantage right here. This fire base is nice and pretty, but it does nothing outside the range of those point defense. Interceptors coming in, trying to deal with the bombers. Back to the range bots while we kind of watch the progress of these units over here. What you're seeing here is the optimal use of range bots, which they're not in play. Well, now they are in play, but a lot of people complain that the range bots are not very strong, and I think to a certain extent those are people who do not babysit them. And this is a unit that's very hard to balance because it can easily become overpowered. It does have the much longer range than most other Tech 2 units have, and if you couple that with a high enough damage and a fast enough fire rate, you end up with an even better version of the Ilshava. But then if you go the other way and tone it down too much, it basically becomes useless. And I do honestly think that it is at a fairly good balance right now. And you can see what the damage potential was in those units right there as they were being used. They kind of have a narrow window of usefulness, but they do have their usefulness. And something that a lot of people don't think about, but this team is definitely making use of Tech 1 bombers galore. You can use Tech 1 bombers to deal with range bots. Yes, they can dodge, they really can, but when you use the Tech 1 bombers, you disrupt the walking pattern of the bots, and you can either overtake them with land units or eventually accumulate damage quickly and kill off the range bots, because, I mean, let's face it, they're really weak. They don't have much health. A couple of Tech 1 bombs hit the thing and it crumples. So they can be dealt with. It's not that big a deal. Over here on the right hand side, we're seeing more range bots. There are hoplites moving in from Scunch, and I don't think I've ever seen this much action from Tech 2 units before. This game is staying in Tech 2 a very long time, and we're seeing a good showcase of the diversity within the Tech 2 phase. There are the most units and the most contrasting strategies contained in the Tech 2 phase. Tech 1 has good units, Tech 3 has good units, and you know what? The Tech 4, the experimental units, are awesome and exciting, but Tech 2 is really where I think the strategy comes in. You've got your range bots, you've got your tac launchers, you've got the mobile stealth for Cybern and bombs, and you know, your two different kinds of tanks that you can choose from and all that other stuff working together, mobile shields, all that good stuff. And so it is really interesting to see how some players choose to compose their armies. It's almost like stacking a deck in a card game. You know, you build all of your beasts and abilities and everything else together, and then you play the deck out against another person, and that's almost what you're doing in the Tech 2 phase here. You're building up your unit composition, you're getting all your abilities right, stacking everything up just like you want it, and then you play it out against another person. So it just kind of adds a whole nother dimension to it. I love it when games play out this way. I'm just waiting for the first Tech 3 unit now. There's got to be somebody upgrading to Tech 3 at this point. It is almost 20 minutes into the game. There is a Tech 3 power generator going down. That is the first Tech 3 land factory that I see. There is a Tech 3 as well. I think the orange may have been first because I already see a spearhead moving to the front. So we do have a Tech 3 land move from the northern team, and it does make sense that they would be first because they did get the reclaim from this base, and they are re-expanding into the territory left behind by poor Lackey, who lacked the skills to stay alive, and I feel terrible for making that pun, but I did it anyway. So many Tech 2 engineers. With 2, I would definitely give you a piece of advice. You do not want to build that many Tech 2 engineers. That was very nearly a snipe. That was a whole lot of Corsairs flying in and just about taking out poor Blood. He is down to 600 health, and that one Corsair is alive. He's got his tanks down here in the base, but oh man. Alright, Corsair is retargeted because the ACU did dip underwater and disrupt that targeting. If he would have ground fired that thing on the ACU, he could have killed it, but he did not. There's a Tech 2 stationary artillery over here. Right there, that is a miasma, which is, the Aeon of course has the most accurate artillery, so that is kind of a handy tool. It will be able to bear down on any units approaching and be able to hit with pretty good accuracy. Tanks over here retreating, the Obsidians deciding they don't want to take on that base. And another Tech 2 artillery, a Clink Hammer covering this shore. This is under a stealth generator. You can see the range on that Clink Hammer. It is able to cover a very wide area. To be completely honest, if you have a central location, oh beautiful, here comes a Monkey Lord, first Tech 4. If you build an artillery in a central location, the range is such that it can actually be useful. If you can get it to fire, let's say 80% of the time, if there's units within range 80% of the time and you can fire on armies coming and going and moving around different areas, then I would definitely say that that T1 or Tech 2 stationary artillery will more than earn the mass that you spent on it. And it is very handy for laying down area damage like this. So that is something to keep in mind. You just don't want to go throwing up banks of them for no reason like some people do. That is what really upsets me. We've got an ACU that is a bit left out alone. That is Belated Cube. He does have the gun upgrade. He has a shield. He will be able to overcharge. He's got Tech 2 gunships and Corsairs on the Monkey Lord. Going to overcharge, but not land enough. He landed 2 overcharges and a whole lot of damage, but sadly, sadly his ACU is going to go down to that Monkey Lord. Not enough support. Got Tech 3 land out for Witsu and Tech 3 air for Skunch. Still looking at all Tech 2 for a Wash Corn. And I am not liking the direction that this game is headed now that Belated Cube is dead. They have got to get the reclaim in their pockets and spend it again on lots and lots of combat units, otherwise they are going to lose. Got Mercies, got Tech 1 bombers coming from Blood. Blood playing a good harassment game. This is the supporting air player that everybody loves. Yes, he very nearly let his teammate get killed to Corsair snipes, but when you build enormous amounts of Tech 1 bombers and harass the other people to death, and if no one on your team dies straight up to air, well then you're a success. You're a success. That is all there is to it. Tech 1 bombers coming in, that was kind of a fail right there. Don't know why he was sending all those directly into interceptors. As soon as I finish saying good things about him, he fails epically. I am so sorry, Blood. I cursed you with the curse of the caster. I said good things about you and immediately jinxed you to fail. Oh well, teaches me to say anything good about anybody. I guess I'll just go back to being my pessimistic, sarcastic self. Spearhead is right over here dying. I was hoping we would see more use from that unit, but it basically just wasted most of its shot on mobile units and didn't accomplish anything. Mobile... that was not what I thought it was. Blazes moving across the water. Those are going to be able to hit the base from the right side. There's 2 Tech 2 point defense over here and a Loyalist, but it's Cyber Tech 2 point defense. Those are not going to be very strong. Units moving back across though, and gunships, nope, they're headed the other direction, but the Loyalists will be able to pick those off, so no damage really done there by those blazes. Well, I was not expecting that. The Southern team was actually able to kill off all of those advancing units. It was mostly Tech 1. I think that is what I miscalculated. We've got Tech 3 coming from the side over here, but almost that entire force in the mid was Tech 1. So the Southern team will be able to reclaim stuff. Got all of these engineers out for blood though, but then those are already cleaning house. I did not realize that the Monkey Lord wreck was already gone. Blood snatched that up in a heartbeat, which is what he should have done, riding on 25,000 reclaim. The bread roll equaling that in 25k. It looks like nobody on the Southern team is even coming close. Half that for 2 members of the Southern team. So the Northern team is running more than double the reclaim as the Southern team. That was an attempt by a couple of, was that Harbingers? Maybe? No, I think it was Titans. It was Titans. An attempt by some Titans that failed miserably. I don't really see any reclaim going on down here. There needs to be a lot of engineers. There's still a bunch of Tech 2 and Tech 1 units on the field. A whole lot of mass to be had. You can see that Blood is still sucking up mass over here wherever he can get his hands on it. And you have a megalith going up right here in the home base of Wutsu. That is going to be a little slow building though. There's only 127 mass income at the moment. So he's going to need to snag some reclaim to finish that in any semblance of speed. But hopefully he can get it up before another Tech 4 comes from the Northern team. No, there's no way. We got a Monkey Lord almost built up there. Gonna have to see how this goes. Oh, a GC as well. Pardon me. Once again, I assure you that the microphone click was much less painful than what you would have heard had I not clicked it. Got a Monkey Lord about to come online for Scunch. Working on 2 T4s at the same time is usually not a smart idea. Just got to throw that out there. But this is going to be the troublemaker here. We've got bricks, and a lot of bricks at that moving in. Trebuchet's laying down area damage on this front grouping, and you can see how quickly that eats away at the total health of the brick population. But we do have some Loyalists moving down, and a brick of the Southern team's very own moving into town to try and push back this wave of bricks coming in. But there's just so many bricks, they're going to accumulate a lot of damage before they get put down. This is never a good thing. You do not want to watch this happening to your home base. It's basically like watching someone pillage your village and not being able to do anything about it. Megalith or Monkey Lord, which one's going to come up first? Because I think it's going to take one of them to kill these stupid bricks. Because nothing else these guys are throwing at them is doing any good. Some Tech 3 Mass Extractor is going to go down. Trying to build some Obsidians, which is kind of a weird thing to do. Got Tech 1 Bombers coming across. Those are not really going to do any substantial damage. And then the bricks moving in on the hives. Oh my goodness. 700 health short of finishing that Monkey Lord. And the bricks killed the last hive. Why? And then we're almost done with the megalith. Almost. Almost. Get it. No. You've got to finish that. I'm going to be so disappointed. That's 2 T4s denied by a hair's breadth. How does that even happen? Still got 1 engineer. Oh, wow. 1 engineer at half health pulling the hero move and getting that megalith online. A wash cord. sending over engineers to finish this monkey lord that was still alive. That means that the southern team is going to have all of the mass in its base, and on the northern side we still have a good defensive front. So I cannot believe that this is actually happening, but the southern team actually has a really good chance of winning this. They have 2 T4s, one almost at full health with about 25 or 30 brick wrecks and a monkey lord to reclaim. They need to reclaim that. They need to throw down another megalith as fast as they possibly can, and then they need to start pushing back into the northern team. Now there's a lot of bricks coming over here, but these guys can totally mop this up if they move in and engage at range. That is just such an absurd amount of happenstance. I can't believe that one engineer, that is the most medal deserving engineer in the history of Supreme Commander, saving this entire team from all of those units that were coming in by finishing that megalith when no other engineering units were around. That is crazy. We've got a GC moving into action from Blood. I don't see any other T4s being built or anything like that. Ah, there's one. Just as I'm saying that, CTN makes it his life's goal to prove me wrong. Monkey Lord and Megalith going to easily clean up all of those bricks. Getting a vet on the Monkey Lord, that is going to help the regen situation a bit. Got a Fat Boy moving down. Now, a Fat Boy paired with a GC, as all you guys know, is a very strong force to be reckoned with. GC can mop up any direct fire units coming in for the Fat Boy, and the Fat Boy can easily protect and back up the GC with range damage, which we're seeing right here, going to start eating a hole into this base before the GC even comes close. Shields are going to be down, most of the units are going to be gone, and all the GC is going to have to deal with is these weak Cerberus turrets, which honestly the Fat Boy should be prioritizing over the mobile units. Got Titans moving in as well, drawing some fire. That GC is going to be able to clean out that base, no problemo. Low damage numbers on that turret, and it is free to walk wherever it very well pleases. Got Harbingers versus Titans. Harbingers are definitely going to win that match. They are going to lose a couple of their own, but for the most part they are going to completely own that group of Titans. Let's see. Oh, there's a GC here. And a lot of Mercies. I am completely amazed that any Mercies are getting through at this point, because there's ASF on the field and there should be mobile anti-air, but a whole bunch of Mercies to the face will mean a draw for that GC war with the help of the Fat Boy there. And a Czar going up. I don't know why you would build a Caesar. That is the strangest thing. Well, I guess you do own air control. Blood is not building ASF, so really the Caesar, you can drop that donut on whoever's head you please. They're not really going to be able to do anything to stop you. Got Harveys and Blazes moving down. Those are going to start harassing this Fat Boy, which is about, yeah, it's dropped its shield actually. So that is up for the killing. And the Megalith is going to have to move back down south to deal with all these bricks. Now there's actually enough bricks here to threaten this GC and really bad trippy micro. Megalith, now is not the time to dance. This is not a party, this is a battlefield. You should be doing your job. Dance, dance, dance. But the donut is going to come in and easily mop up those bricks. And as you can see over here on the chat, that was an attempt at crab micro, where basically you walk a crab backwards without actually turning it around. But if you misplace your clicks and do strange things, your Megalith will end up turning on a dime and dying to bricks that it probably could have killed had it been micro correctly. So, yeah. Live and learn. Live and learn. Czar's going to go ahead and mop up some more bricks, going to get some veterancy on that thing, and stem the tide of units coming in to threaten this base. I'm sure that Tsar is going to move up the trail here, and you guys have completely confused my brain because half the time I say Tsar and half the time I say Caesar, because I tried to train myself out of saying Caesar, because, yeah. And that is Cloak. The bread roll had to go. So he hit his ACU, got the upgrades on it, and gave his entire base to Blood. Blood now has double eco to work with, and he does have a decent bit of air. However, vetted Caesar, extra health, higher regen, and it is a wicked anti-air platform. I don't care what anybody says, it's easily going to be able to deal with all those ASF, and it's going to continue its travels northwards. However, the enemy of the Tsar is Sam's, and that is exactly what's being built here. We've got ground fire going down on... Oh no, this is going to be it. Blood died, and the donut's still alive. I thought we were going to see a donut drop, but it is moving onwards. Holy cow, that is amazing. Still got bricks moving in down here, and the entire right-hand side is collapsing to Titans. Titans, I tell you, Titans. Why is it dying to Titans? Could have built so many Percivals for all the mass of the Titans that have died over here, and the Percivals would have completely obliterated this side by now, but no, we have Titans. And the Caesar is now wrecking everything. There's an ACU here that it needs to kill. Is that a teleport? Is that a teleport? Really? No, it's not. That is a dead factory that had an ASF building in it. That is what that was. My bad, peoples. That is a graphics glitch, and a known graphics glitch. You can see the air unit halfway formed right in the middle of that thing. Lovely little piece of scenery over there to admire, but it is highly distracting. Alright. Fat Boy moving down with the Titans, and finally a few Percivals. And we have another Caesar plan. Got Monkey Lords going down as these engineers are reclaiming, getting the mass. Now this is a problem because the bread roll went AFK, not expecting his teammate to die in his fortified position with air. And yeah, now we basically have a dormant base and dormant bricks and nothing else going on. So CTN is effectively on his own in this. Excuse me for the third time. But if anyone were equipped to handle this situation, I would definitely say that it was CTN, because CTN has a sustained income of 338 mass per tick. That is almost equal to the Southern team combined. Now, I know Wash Acorn has a high number here. There we go, drop back down, because he was getting reclaimed. And he is still getting reclaimed because he's trying to build another Caesar. Needing energy. Well, of course you do, because you're reclaiming boo-koodles of mass. You will never have enough power when you're reclaiming multiple T4s. You got a GC, a spider. We're actually building two spiders at the same time again. And a Caesar with a single lonely Percival about to make landfall over here. And these guys are using this Caesar to mop up units instead of going after the commander, which is right here with basically no protection. This game could be over right now if you would just scout. Please, please, please scout. But no, Caesar is headed back to base. Apparently they were scared that it wouldn't be able to deal with that Percival, so he had to come check it out, and now that his buddies are okay, he is going to just kind of chill out at their house and not accomplish anything. Let's face it, that's how a lot of our friends are. And we have hit dormancy. So, speed bump real quick to get this over with and see what the final showdown will bring Got Caesar movement there, but it is over to the left, so I'm going to assume that it's picking up bricks and going to keep watching. And second donut. A donut dos. Dos donut. Dos nut. Okay, that sounds bad. That is... Oh, bread roll is back. And giving his units to orange. Yeah, this game needs to end now. There are 2 donuts and 2 ACUs. I say let's use 1 donut per ACU and let's get it over with. Got T3 scouts headed up the mid. I don't know if they scouted the ACU just diving directly over the SAMs, even though they can go wide to either side of the map. They do see the ACU and they are headed in for the kill. I'm going to go ahead and bump the speed back down so we can watch this in peace. And my voice is just about to make it through another cast. It just needs to hang on for about 5 more minutes. I absolutely detest sore throats and losing your voice and all kinds of other stuff because it takes such a deceptively long amount of... What? What? It's Canis, you fool. Why are you building a Tech 3 artillery? What good can this possibly accomplish? What is the meaning of this madness that you are attempting? There are 2 donuts on the other side of the map. And a locked, stalemated game. Donut number 2 is the name. And this ACU is going to go down. No doubt about it. CTN nuclear fire has replaced that ACU, and this donut is going to move across the base. So hopefully we can nab this last ACU and be done with this ludicrous game that I honestly don't understand anymore. There has been a lot of craziness and chanciness in this game, and we are now finally drawing down into the conclusion. Alright, last ACU about to go up. I hope you guys enjoyed this game. To be completely honest, you know, I know it's not the best game in the world, but there were some really funny moments in this game, you gotta admit. There were some epic points. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And as always, thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, and I am so happy to give back. Hopefully you guys will join me for the next cast. It should be out on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. So I will see you then, and as of now, I'm another year older. Woot woot. It is my birthday today, so I'm gonna wish myself a happy birthday, and I will see all you guys then. Adios.